I paid 95,000 for my son's wedding. Just be mocked. My cold revenge left them with nothing.
I stood in a grand room at the Drake Hotel in Boston. I held a costly glass of wine. My new daughter-in-law grabbed the mic. The room got quiet. She looked grand in her $25,000 Oscar de la Renta dress. It shone under the bright lights. I smiled. I waited for her to thank us, but she pointed right at me. "This is my father-in-law, Arthur," she said. "Pardon his smell. He is the old fat ox we must bear." All 300 guests laughed hard. My own son, the groom, stayed seated. Tyler did not back me up. He looked at his shoes and gave a weak laugh. They thought I was a poor old car fixer from Cleveland. They did not know I had just bought her dad's firm that same day. Tell me where you are from in the comments. Hit like and subscribe to my channel if folks ever judged you wrongly. I am Arthur Pendleton. Friends call me Artie. I am 69 years old. For 45 years I had oil on my hands and gas in my lungs. I look like a guy who shops at cheap stores. I drive a 10-year-old Chevrolet Silverado. My coat barely shuts over my big gut. That is what I want folks to see. It hides the truth. You do not see the man the news calls the butcher. You do not see the head of Pendleton Freight. We move goods across 48 states. I buy bad firms. I cut the waste, I make them rich. I do not show off my cash, I keep it in the bank, I save it for days like today. I got to the event 12 minutes late, I am not a mess. A cold truck broke down near Toledo, Ohio. It had medical drugs, I had to send new trucks myself. I had no time to wash. I put my suit on in my truck bed. I had black oil on my left sleeve. I tried to rub it off. It just made a dark spot on the cheap brown cloth. I walked in. The bride's folks stared at me. The Kensingtons, they stood by the door like kings. Charles Kensington wore a sharp tux. His wife Margaret wore lots of gems. I bet they were rentals. I walked up. Charles crinkled his nose. He sniffed the air in a fake way. "Artie," he said loud over the music, "did you get lost? This is a fancy event. It is not a truck stop." Margaret fanned her face. "Charles, be kind. Maybe his trailer park lacks a washer." They let out a mean laugh. I did not live in a trailer. I lived in a small brick house near Cleveland. I bought it with my late wife Eleanor 35 years ago. I kept it to smell her scent in the hall closet. It was my home. I bit my tongue. I did it for Tyler, my only child. Tyler stood close by. He fixed his tie in a glass. He saw them mock his dad. He did nil. He turned away. He stared at a cold ice peacock that hurt me deeply. I paid for his school. I got him a good job at a freight firm. He did not know my big firm owned it. I just wrote a $95,000 check 5 hours ago for this bash. Tiffany said she had to wed here. $95,000. And they treated me like dirt. I hid in a dark corner. I watched staff pass out tiny art-like food. I watched Tiffany walk around. She took praise. She showed off a big ring. I paid for it in secret when Tyler's card failed. She looked pretty but cold. Her eyes scanned the crowd. She sized up each guest's wealth. She was 28 years old. She craved a rich life she did not earn. Then came the talks. The best man slurred a tale. The main maid cried about Tiffany. Then Tiffany took the mic. She stood in the bright light. She thanked her folks. She called them pure class. Then she looked at my dim corner. "We must not miss Tyler's dad, Arthur," she said. The bright beam hit my face. I blinked hard. There he is, pardon his smell. He fixes trash trucks or cars. I tune out when he speaks. Some folks gave a weak laugh, but she kept on. She pointed at my dirty sleeve. "Look at his tight coat. This is the old fat ox we must bear. We told him to buy a new suit, but you cannot put lipstick on an ox." The room went wild. They roared with joy. 300 guests laughed loud so they would not be the butt of the joke. I stood still. I touched my chest pocket. A paper envelope lay by my heart. It held a bank check for $600,000. It was my gift to them. It was meant to buy them a house. I looked at Tyler. He laughed too. His face was red. He went along with his wife to keep peace. He let her mock me. I gripped the thick paper in my coat. Moving slow, I ripped the check in half. I tore it more and more. I made it into tiny bits. Charles Kensington strolled up. The light left my face. He wiped happy tears from his eyes. "Oh, Artie, that was great," he said. He hit my back hard. "Do not be mad. Tiffany just has dry wit." He dug in his coat. He took out a $25 bill. "Here, go buy soap or a salad." He stuffed the cash in my top pocket. It sat next to the torn bits of my big gift. I looked at the $25. I looked at Charles. He beamed with pride. He leaned in. He smelled of rich booze. "Artie, eat up. It is the best food you will get all year. I am glad tonight. Big news. The board at Sterling Tech will name the new boss on Monday. That boss is me. I will rule Boston. I could buy your tiny shop a ton of times." A deep calm hit me. I felt this way right before I broke a firm apart. I felt like a hunter with caught prey. Sterling Tech. I spent the last 4 months checking their books in secret. I just signed the deed to buy them at dawn. Charles Kensington would not be the boss. He was a lower VP. He faked math to hide a $1.8 million hole in his unit, and I was his new chief. I stayed quiet. I did not toss my drink at him. I did not yell. I just gave a nod. "Good job, Charles," I said. "Monday will be a grand day for you." He laughed and went to get more booze. I walked to the main table, the VIP spot for the parents. I just meant to sit, eat, and go. Tiffany blocked my path. "Stop right there, Artie," she said. "Where are you going?" I pointed to the bare chair next to Tyler. "Is that my spot?" She sneered. "No way, my uncle from Martha's Vineyard sits there. He runs a bank. He is a big deal. We must talk shop tonight." She dug her sharp nails into my cheap coat. She spun me fast. She pointed near the loud kitchen doors. "You sit back there, table 19. It works best. You will fit in with your own kind. I do not want you in our nice photos. You look bad." I gazed at table 19. It sat in a dim nook by the staff door. Hot steam and foul soapy smells blew out when the doors swung. The DJ's date and a photo helper sat there. A few odd kin sat too. It was a table for rejects. "Tyler," I said. I looked past Tiffany at my boy. "Do you want this?" Tyler looked up. He viewed his wife, then me. He gave a shrug. "She is right, Dad. It is just a meal. Do not cause a fuss. You get too loud near posh folks. Just sit in the back. It is fine." My heart froze to solid ice. I stared at my son. I saw the kid I taught to ride a bike. The kid I held when his heart first broke. The kid I worked long days for. I worked so he had new clothes, not used ones like me. That sweet kid was dead. Now he was a weak man in a tux. He feared his wife. "I see," I said. "I will go sit." I walked to the far back. A server hit me with a tray of dirty plates. I sat. My seat shook. The cloth bore an old wine spot. I sat there for 12 minutes. I watched the main table. I watched Charles Kensington laugh. He poured wine I bought. I watched Tiffany pose for photos. I watched Tyler sink low in his seat. My phone buzzed in my coat. My bank sent an alert. The $95,000 fee for the party cleared. It was the top-tier deal. It paid for the hall and the big meal. It paid for an open bar. Free top booze for 300 guests. I got up. I fixed my coat. I walked past table 19. I passed the dance floor and left the room. I found the host boss. A tired woman named Jessica checked a list. "Excuse me," I said. She looked up at my cheap suit. "The restrooms are down the hall, sir." "I do not need the restroom," I said. "I pay for this bash, Arthur Pendleton." Her face flipped fast. "Oh, Mr. Pendleton, I am so sorry. Do you like it all? Is the food good?" I dug in my pocket. I grabbed my cheap Velcro billfold. I bought it at a gas stop 6 years ago. The Velcro tore open loud. Folks usually mock that sound, but I took out a rare card. It was not a normal bank card. It was pure dark metal, a heavy black card. Jessica got wide eyes. She knew the card. It meant I had no limit. It meant I could buy the whole hall. "I need to shift our deal," I said in a calm voice. Jessica typed on her screen. "Yes, sir. What do you need? More wine, late food?" "No," I said. "Cut the open bar right now. From this tick, guests pay for drinks." Jessica blinked hard. Sir, the open bar is the best perk you bought. Guests drank fine gin and rum all night. If we swap to cash now. Swap it, I cut in. Set the cost to your top hotel rate. $30 for a mixed drink, $18 for a beer. Tell your staff to charge for each glass poured from now on. No freebies, not for the bride, not for her dad, no one. But sir, Jessica shook, this will cause a riot, they will be mad. I met her eyes. I pay the bill, Jessica, did I sign the pact? She nodded. Then do it, or I fight the full $95,000 charge right now. She gulped loud. Yes, sir, I will radio the staff. I hid my black card. I strolled back into the grand room. I skipped table 19. I leaned on a back post. I crossed my arms. I hid my dirt spot. I waited. It took just 5 minutes. I saw Charles Kensington walk to the bar. He smacked the bar top. He yelled, a strong scotch. The scared young worker poured it. Then he held his hand out. That is $50, sir. Charles went stiff. He gave a laugh. What do you mean? It is an open bar. Do you know me? I am the bride's dad. Sorry, sir, the worker spoke loud. The host swapped the deal. The free bar is shut. You pay cash now. Charles grew deep purple. What host? I am the host. This is my girl's night. Well, the worker said. He read a small note. The host is Mr. Arthur Pendleton. He closed the tab. Charles spun fast. He gazed around with wild eyes. He spotted me by the post. I raised my hand. I gave a small wave. I tapped my pocket to mimic cash. The soft talk began at the bar. It flew across the room fast. The free drinks are gone. You must pay $25 for a beer. Tiffany danced happily. Her friend ran up to whisper to her. Tiffany stopped cold. She viewed the long bar line. Mad guests dug out cash. She saw Charles yell at the staff. Then she locked eyes with me. Her face contorted with rage. She pulled up her gown. She marched past dancers to reach me. The tunes faded out. The joy died. She stopped right by my nose. You, she hissed. What are you doing? You ruined my big day. I stared back at her. I viewed the costly gown I bought. I saw my paid blooms and food. I did not ruin your day, Tiffany, I said. I just trimmed the funds. Oxen are famously cheap. Did you not know? She gasped hard. How dare you? Fix this now. Tyler will shun you forever. Tyler popped up by her side. He looked scared. Dad, turn it back on. You shame us. All eyes are on us. They did stare. 300 guests watched the fat old ox in dirty clothes stand firm. I do not shame you, Tyler, I said. You shamed yourself. You let your bride call me an ox on the mic. You sat me by the bathroom. You want free drinks. Buy them yourself. You work. Oh, wait. I got you that job. I pay your rent. Save your cash. Charles Kensington ran up to us. His face dripped sweat. Listen to me, you cheap car fixer, he yelled. He poked my chest hard. Open the bar or I end you. One phone call will shut your dump down. I am a big man. I looked at his finger. I looked at his damp, red skin. I thought of the $1.8 million he took from the work fund. I thought of the report on my desk. Go ahead, Charles, I said softly. Make your call. Just ensure you can pay your phone bill. Being jobless pays poorly. He frowned in deep thought. What do you mean? He asked. You will see, I said. I shoved past them. I strode through the sea of guests. I told no one goodbye. I walked out of the Drake Hotel doors. The cool Boston air hit me. I climbed inside my old Chevrolet Silverado. It smelled of motor oil and old coffee. It smelled of real work. I drove home alone. I felt no grief. I felt full of life. I took out my phone. I tapped a fast dial key. It rang once. Mr. Pendleton. It was Victor Cross, my top lawyer. He made crocodiles look like guppies. It was 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. He answered fast. I pay him enough to skip sleep. I hope I did not wake you, Victor, I said. Never, sir. What is the task? I need a file built, I said. First, do a deep dive on Charles Kensington's work at Sterling Tech. Have it ready for the big Monday meet. List every cent he stole. Consider it done, Cross said. I heard him grin. And Victor? Yes, sir. Start an eviction for the Elm Street house, the one where Tyler Pendleton and Tiffany Kensington live. Our firm owns it, right? Yes, sir. The holding group owns it. Good, give them the boot paper tomorrow morning. On Sunday, kick them out by noon. He paused. Sir, that is your boy. I know who it is, Victor. Do it. I ended the call. I parked at my house. My house was black. It was still. I went to the kitchen. I made a meat sandwich. I stood and ate by the sink. It was my best meal all year. The war had begun. They fought a tank with a toy gun. I recalled walking out of the hotel. The still Boston night had hit me hard. Back in the big room, my planned chaos brewed. I heard faint bass beats. The happy vibe had died. The free ride was done. The costly drinks stopped. They learned they could not drain my wealth for free. I did not use a valet. I hate men driving my truck. I walked to the self-park deck. I left my old Chevrolet Silverado there. The walk took time. I needed the crisp air. It cleared the bad smells from my lungs. I got to the third deck. My hand touched my truck door. Then a heavy metal door flew open loud. The noise bounced like a gun blast. I did not spin around. I knew the man. Heavy, rushed steps gave him away. He did not run often. He usually snapped to get his way. Hey, stop right there. The voice lacked breath. It slurred a bit. It was Charles Kensington. I turned slow. He stood under bright tube lights. His coat was open. His face was a red, sweaty mask of rage. He fit poorly among cars and oil drops. He looked like a badger lost in a dirty garage. He stomped my way. His shiny shoes clicked hard on the gray floor. You think you are so funny, Charles yelled. His voice rang in the empty lot. You think this is a joke, closing my bar? Do you know who sits inside? I have key backers there. I have partners. They will vote on my fate this Monday. You make me look cheap. I leaned back on my truck bed. I crossed my arms. I eyed him head to toe. I stayed mute. I learned long ago that quiet beats yelling. A dumb man will talk until he ruins himself. Charles was a very dumb man. He thought my quiet meant I was slow. He stepped closer. He breached my space. The booze smell was strong. You are just a bitter, jealous runt, he spat. You see classy, rich folks. You hate us for it. You want to drag us into the mud. I have news, Artie. You cannot hurt me. I am bulletproof. I raised one brow. Bulletproof? I asked soft. That is a strong word, Charles. The big ship was unsinkable until the ice came. He laughed a harsh bark. Do not quote history to me, car guy. You fix motors, I fix large firms. I move millions of dollars before you drink your coffee. Do you know about Monday? No, you do not read the news. He baited me. He wished to brag. He had to prove he was better than the ox. I let him talk. I gave him the rope. Tell me, Charles, I said, what happens on Monday? He puffed his chest out. He gazed around the bare deck. He acted like he spoke to a board room. Monday morning, I take over Sterling Tech. The old boss is out. He is weak and old like you. The board wants fresh blood. They want a bold guy to slash costs. That is me. I am just a regional VP right now. But at 9:00 a.m. Monday, I run the whole show. A chill hit my neck. Sterling Tech. The name hung in the damp air. It was the last clue I needed. For the past 4 months, my crew at Pendleton Freight snooped on a failing giant named Sterling Tech. We checked their ledgers and debts. The firm bled cash fast. Their supply chains were broken. We found a huge missing chunk in regional sales, $1.8 million. It was a giant gap. It hid under odd consulting fees and fake travel bills. My checkers flagged it as theft. They lacked a name. They just knew the job title, Regional VP of North American Sales. I looked at Charles Kensington. I saw his $6,000 Armani suit. I saw his shiny watch that cost more than my ride. I recalled his leased mansion. I thought of the wedding he did not pay a cent for. The math clicked tight. The $1.8 million was not lost. It stood right near me. It yelled in a parking deck. So, you are the brains of those North American numbers, I said flatly. I hear that unit leaks cash. Charles froze fast. He squinted. Who told you that? He waved his hand quick. Never mind, you cannot grasp big money tasks. Those are just math tweaks, pushed funds. It is hard to grasp. It takes deep smarts to move funds. It builds firm power. He nearly said personal gain. He caught the slip. But he made the error. He was so smug. He thought he could outsmart me. He assumed I did not know pushed funds meant buying a toy boat. You are right, Charles, I said. I am just a plain man. I handle nuts and bolts. Exactly, he sneered. You do nuts and bolts. I see the big view. I will gut that firm. I will fire half the staff. I will raid the pension fund. My bonus check will buy your whole block. That is pure power, Artie. Real men grab what they want. He confessed it all. He told me his plan to kill my new firm. He told me why I bought Sterling Tech. I bought it to save jobs. It had good bones, but vile bugs like him ruined it. Now the main bug bragged to me. A fire burned in my gut. It was not anger, it was duty. I knew my grim task, but I hid it well. The trap needed an audience. You seem very sure, Charles, I said. I hope Monday goes just as you plan. It will, he stated, and since I will be so rich, let me aid you. He reached in his pants. He grabbed a fat stack of cash. It was the same silver clip. He peeled off a $25 bill. He crushed it into a ball. He hurled it at my face. It hit my cheek. It fell to the dirty gray floor. There, he said, gas money. Take your rusty junk truck and leave. Go back to Cleveland. Stay away from my house. Do not call my girl. You shame Tyler. You shame us all. If I see you, guards will toss you out. He turned on his heel. He walked off. He did not look back. He thought I would pick up the cash in shame. He felt he won. I watched him step away. He swayed a bit at the door. I waited for the heavy steel door to slam. Then I moved. I bent low. I picked up the wrinkled $25 bill from the oily floor. I smoothed it flat on my truck hood. I folded it up. I slid it in my pocket. I would give it back to him on Monday. I got in my truck. The seats were torn. The engine roared loud. It shook the metal frame. It was a loud, real sound. I drove to the exit gate. I paid the deck fee with my own card. I skipped the receipt. I hit the dark road away from the city glare. I grabbed my phone. I dialed Victor Cross fast. He answered right away. Mr. Pendleton, Victor said crisp and alert. I guess you left the party. I did, I said. And Victor, our check task just grew. How so, sir? I just spoke with Charles Kensington. He thinks he will be named CEO on Monday. He also hinted he stole the North American funds. He called it math tweaks for power. I heard keys clack on his end. Cross was already typing. That is bad luck for him, sir. It gets worse, Victor. Wake up the whole audit squad. I do not care the hour. Pay them triple time. I want a full trace of every expense and pact. Track all wire sums Charles Kensington sent in the last 6 years. I want to find the missing money. Dig for fake firms. See if he used work funds for his mansion, his car, and his kids' big party. We can do it, sir. It takes all night. Good. Place the file on my desk at Sterling Tech by 7:00 a.m. Monday. And Victor. Yes, Mr. Pendleton. Draft his firing slip. Cite gross acts, theft, and broken trust. Then call the local law cops. Get a fraud cop ready. Sir, do you want him locked up? I want him buried, Victor. He called me an ox. He tossed cash at my face. He said he would crush my shop. I will show him the true butcher. I will strip his job, his name, and his freedom. Handcuffs will take him out. Understood, sir. The team is on it. One more thing, Victor. Yes. The Elm Street house Tyler and Tiffany live in. Yes, sir. The boot note goes out tomorrow morning. Add a line to it. Demand an instant check for property damage. If they scuffed one wall, sue them for the fix. And axe the lease on Tiffany's BMW X5. Our Sterling Tech subfirm leases it, right? I think so, sir. Charles got it for her. Tow it tonight. She will wake up Sunday with no house and no car. I want them to hit rock bottom fast. They will learn the ox can roll in the mud. Consider it done, Mr. Pendleton. I hung up. The dark highway lay bare. My headlamps lit the path. I felt no fatigue. I felt no hunger. I was sharp. Charles Kensington thought we played a status game. He felt he won with his tuxedo and job title. He did not know this was survival. He poked the wrong beast in the woods. I cranked the radio. Old rock tunes blared. I tapped the wheel. I had 60 hours until the big meeting. 60 hours to plan the kill. I drove deep into the night. The $25 bill burned in my pocket. I waited for dawn on Judgment Day. I parked at my longtime home. I lived there 35 years. It was a simple brick house in an older block. The porch bulb blinked. I knew I might skip fixing it. I had much larger things to fix. I unlocked the door. It smelled of lemon wax and quiet dust. My Alina passed away 6 years ago. I kept the rooms just as she left them. Lace mats stayed on tables. Clay birds sat in the kitchen. It was a shrine to our simple, pure life. Tyler grew up here. Now he wished to wipe it away. I walked into the kitchen. I tossed my keys by a pile of mail. My hands shook. It was not fear. It was not the cold Boston wind. It was the rush from the deck fight. I scrubbed the oil off my hands at the sink. I rubbed until my skin burned red. I stared at the dark glass window. I saw an old, worn guy, but I also saw the sharp eyes of a builder. I built an empire from one tow truck. I sat at my small kitchen table. I used to help Tyler with math here. We ate cakes and turkey here too. I pulled out my phone. It sat mute. I hoped Tyler would call. I hoped he would say sorry. I hoped he would say, "Dad, I apologize. Tiffany was wrong. I love you." I was dumb. The phone rang at dead midnight. The screen showed Tyler. I stared at the lit text. A small hope sparked inside me. Maybe he woke up. I swiped to answer. "Tyler," I spoke. It was not him. A shrill, mean voice screamed. It was Tiffany. "You sick old jerk," she shrieked. I held the phone away from my ear. Loud horns and yells blared behind her. They were leaving the grand hall. "Tiffany," I said calmly, "put my boy on the line." "I will not," she spat. "He is too sad to speak. You shamed us all. You shamed me. Do you know how much we charge to cards for the drinks? We max them out. My dad is mad. He will sue you for breaking your word." I sat back in my chair. "Your dad will be busy Monday, Tiffany. He will lack time for lawsuits." "Do not threaten my dad," she yelled. "He is a better man. He has class and cash. You are just a sad old car fixer. You hate seeing Tyler wed up." That was her view. I was jealous Tyler found a posh family. Her words hit me hard, wed up, like my own blood was pure dirt. "I will make this clear to you, Arthur," she hissed. Her low voice felt worse than her yells. "You made your choice. You picked cash over family. Now live with the fallout. I am with child." My world froze still. The room, the bad bulb, the lemon scent all faded. A child, a grandkid, a piece of Alina and me. My grip got tight on the phone. "You are with child," I whispered. "Yes," she said. "I meant to share the news during toasts, but you ruined that too, so I promise you this. You will never see this child. You will never know this baby. You will never know its name. My child will know Charles Kensington as his granddad. My kid will have the Kensington name. You will be nothing to my baby. You will be a ghost. A dead fat ox we do not discuss." The pain was sharp. It was worse than her cruel words. It felt like a lost limb. She cut off my future. She used a pure life to hurt me. She used my own blood as a weapon. "Tyler," I said, my voice broke. "Tyler, are you there? Can you hear this?" I heard a soft noise. Then my son spoke. His voice was weak. It was sad. "I am here, Dad." "Tyler, she says I cannot see my grandkid. Do not let her do that." Tyler sighed. I kept it loose in case they wanted to move. But it had a rule. Rule 14b: the owner could end the lease with 30 hours notice. This applied to bad changes, subrenting, or bad conduct. It also applied if the owner was tired of being a rug. I opened my email. I wrote to Victor Cross. Subject: quick kick out, 452 Elm Street. Victor, plans changed. Do not wait for dawn. Serve the notice tonight. Use the fast delivery service. Tape it to their front door before they wake up. I am using the quick end rule. They must leave the house in 30 hours. Also freeze the bank account ending in 4490. I use that to send Tyler his monthly cash. He thinks it is a car crash payout. He never had a crash. Cut it off. Also, Victor, write a strict letter. They cannot use my name or face. If Tiffany posts about me online, I will sue. If she lies to her friends, I will sue. They want me to be a ghost. Fine. I will be the ghost that scares them. I hit send. I leaned back in my seat. The rage left me. Cold, clear thoughts took its place. They threatened my only reason to live, my line, my grandkid. They thought they could use the kid as a tool. They thought they could trap my love. They were wrong. You do not deal with bad people. You take their power away. I opened a new file. It held the papers for the BMW X5 that Tiffany drove. It was a firm perk from a sub-brand. I logged into the car tracker. I saw the car. It was parked at the hotel valet. I grabbed my phone. I called my fleet tow service. "This is Pendleton," I said to the worker. "Hey, Mr. Artie, what do you need?" "I need a car towed, a cream BMW X5. It is at the hotel. I have the map dots. Pick it up tonight." "Tonight, boss? Right now? Do you have a spare key code?" "I do." "Take it back. Move it to the south side lot, the one with the sharp wire. Leave their personal things at the hotel desk in a trash bag." "You got it, boss." I hung up. I walked to the kitchen. I looked at the bare spot on the fridge. Tyler's face used to be there. A tear fell down my face. I wiped it away madly. I was done with tears. They wanted to play games with blood. They played king and queen. They treated me like a poor man. They called me an ox to the world. Well, tomorrow they would wake up. They would find out the ox owned the dirt, the farm, and the meat shop. I went to my bedroom. I opened the closet. I pushed my work shirts and pants aside. In the back sat my Armani suit under plastic. I wore it to big meetings. I wore it when I fired bad bosses. I took it out. I brushed it clean. I hung it on the door. Monday was near. I had a big meeting at Sterling Industries. I had a son to kick out. I had a son's wife to ruin. I had a grandkid to keep safe. I would crush the parents to do it. I turned off the home lights. I lay in bed. I stared at the roof. I heard the wind shake the glass. I did not sleep. I just waited for the sun. I sat in my Chevrolet Silverado. I parked 3 doors down from 452 Elm Street. The Sunday sun was very bright. It felt like an insult. It was a day for pancakes, brew, and the news. It was a perfect day for the folks in the old house with the big porch. But it was about to change. Their real world was going to break into tiny pieces. I poured dark coffee from my flask. I watched the hot air hit the glass. I was not sleepy. I missed a whole night of rest. Yet my brain was very sharp. At 9:00 a.m. sharp, a black SUV parked at the curb near the house. It was not a fancy car. It was a state truck. It had the county law badge on the door. 2 officers got out. They did not smile. They fixed their belts. They walked up the path with heavy steps. They had a job to do. They did not care if you liked it. A big plain truck drove up behind them. It parked and made loud noises. Its brakes hissed like a snake. This was the moving crew I hired through Victor Cross. I rolled my window down a bit to listen. The head officer was named Davis. I knew him for years. He did not know I owned the place. He banged on the thick wood door. The noise rang down the quiet street. Bam, bam, bam. It was the sound of doom. Took a long time to open the door. I pictured Tyler and Tiffany inside. They were likely in the front room. They sat near open wedding cards. They were adding up the cash and checks. They took that money from guests the night prior. They probably guessed how much fancy decor they could get, or maybe they planned a trip to rest from being so awful. At last, the door opened. Tyler stood there. He wore linen pajama pants. I knew they cost $200. I saw the charge on the bank list last night. He looked messy. His hair stood up. His eyes squeezed against the sun. I saw his lips move. He asked what was going on. Officer Davis skipped the nice talk. He gave Tyler a thick stack of pages. I knew what those pages held. It was a fast kick-out order. It cited a broken rule and a sudden lease end. It also had a judge's note to take back goods. Tyler looked at the text. He looked at the cop. He laughed. His shoulders shook. He thought it was an error. He thought it was a joke. He tried to shut the door. Officer Davis stuck a big boot in the frame. He spoke words that made Tyler stop cold. Then the cop pointed to the grass. He did not ask, he told him. Soon Tiffany showed up behind Tyler. She wore a cream robe, it looked soft as a cloud. She shoved past Tyler, she began to scream. I could not catch her exact words from afar, but I knew the pitch. It was the "do you know who I am" pitch. It was the shriek of a spoiled brat hitting a brick wall of rules. She stuck a finger in the cop's face. That was a bad move. The cop stepped into the hall, the 2 guards followed. The team from the big truck hopped out. There were 6 guys, they were huge men with thick gloves, they had zero chill. They marched up the stairs like troops. I sipped my drink. The show began. For the next hour I saw them tear down a fake life. It was not a soft move. They did not wrap nice glass in safe plastic. This was a forced exit. The men brought items out in piles. They dropped them on the front grass. First came the wedding gifts. Bright boxes, silver ovens, and pricey mixers. They threw them on the wet lawn. Next came the seats. The leather couch I helped pay for, the huge TV, the dining chairs, it all came out bit by bit. The neat yard became a messy yard sale. Tiffany paced on the walkway. Her phone was glued to her ear. She was wild. She waved her arms. She pointed at the house. She pointed at the cops. She looked like a band leader whose stage was on fire. I knew who she called. She called her papa. She dialed the great Charles Kensington. He was the man who fixed it all. I took out my phone. I checked the clock. It was 9:30. My fax said Charles Kensington sat in his home office right now. He stared at a laptop screen. It showed him the first shakes of a major quake. I told Victor Cross to leak a tip to the trade sites at 8:00 a.m. The tip was clear. The state was checking Sterling Industries for grand theft. The stock cost would crash. A harsh buyout was near. Charles did not answer his girl's calls. He was too busy saving his own hide. He was destroying files. He was sweating through his linen pajamas. I watched Tiffany yell into her phone. Then she pulled it away. She stared at the screen in shock. She dialed over and over. She stomped her foot like a child. She could not get why her magic rope failed. She never lived one day where a call did not fix her mess. Welcome to the real world, honey. Next came the clothes. The men brought them out in trash bags. They were thick black sacks. The men dragged them down the steps. They threw them on the heap. I saw a flash of the Oscar de la Renta dress. It was not in a bag. A mover carried it out. It hung on his arm like a dead peacock. He placed it on a bush. It looked silly there, cream fabric caught on the twigs. It stood for a day that cost $95,000. It bought only pure pain. Tyler sat on the curb. He held his head in his hands. He did not fight. He did not yell. He just watched it unfold. He looked tiny. He looked beaten. He was not the tough guy who watched me take abuse. He was a boy losing his toys. A neighbor stepped out of the next house. It was Mrs. Gable. She ran the local block group. She was a lady who checked grass length with a stick. She walked to the yard line. She held her robe tight. She stared at the junk pile on the grass. She spoke to Tiffany. Tiffany yelled at her. Mrs. Gable stepped back. She took out her phone. She took pictures. I grinned. That meant a fee for broken rules, just one more blow. Next, the tow truck came. It was a huge, loud flatbed truck. It backed into the drive. Its reverse alarm cut the quiet Sunday air. Beep, beep, beep. The driver jumped out. He hooked heavy chains to the cream BMW X5. Tiffany went crazy. She ran to the car. She threw her body at the left door. She held the handle tight. She screamed very loud. I heard her. Fine now. This is my car. You cannot take this. My dad pays the lease. Back off. The cop stepped in. He pulled her off the car with a firm grip. She swung her arms wildly. Her robe fell open. Her pride vanished in the fresh air. She fell on the grass and cried. She watched them take the car. It was her prize badge. Her golden ride rolled onto the truck bed. It tipped back. It looked weak. It was just a lump of steel and plastic. The truck drove off. It took her freedom away. I saw Tyler stand up. He walked to the cop. He held the kick-out paper. He pointed to a line at the base of the page. He asked a thing. The cop nodded. The cop pointed down the road right at my truck. Tyler turned. He looked down the street. He saw the old Chevrolet Silverado. He saw a man's shape in a cap drinking brew. Tyler froze. I saw the truth hit his brain. It hit him worse than losing the house. He looked down at the page once more. He looked at the owner's signed name. Amp Properties, Arthur Pendleton. He lived in that house for 4 years. He signed the rent slips every month. He never checked who truly owned the firm. He thought it was just a blank huge company. He thought the world just gave him nice things. He started to walk to me. He had no shoes. He walked on the hard road in his linen pajamas. He looked like a ghost. Tiffany saw him walk. She got up fast. She followed him. She wiped dark makeup from her face. They reached my truck. Tyler put a hand on the hood to stay up. He looked through the front glass. His eyes were red and empty. "Dad," he whispered. The glass blocked the sound, but I read his lips. I rolled down the window. Fresh coffee scent mixed with their sheer panic. "You own the house?" Tyler asked. His voice shook hard. "You are the owner." I took a slow sip. "I am," I said. "Amp Properties." "You never asked about the letters." "But why? Why do this? We have no place to go. All our gear is on the grass. They took the car. Dad, this is crazy. Stop them." I looked past him at Tiffany. She stood behind him. She shook with cold. She did not yell now. She looked full of fear. She looked at me. She saw the ox, the grease monkey. She saw a man she did not know. She saw the guy holding the keys to her whole life. "I'm not doing a thing, Tyler," I said. "I'm just fixing a bad error. I thought I could buy you a good path. I thought softening the real world would make you strong, but I just made you weak and selfish." Tiffany stepped up. Her voice shook. "Arthur, please, I am with child. You cannot throw a pregnant woman on the street. It is against the law. It is wrong." I looked at her belly. I looked at her eyes. "Illegal, no. I checked the rules. Immoral, maybe. But you told me last night I would never see that baby. You said I was a ghost. Ghosts do not pay house loans, Tiffany. Ghosts do not buy fancy cars. If you want to raise a Kensington, ask the Kensingtons for a home." She jumped back. "My dad, he is not picking up." "I know," I said. "He is having a very tough morning. It will only get worse." Tyler grabbed the truck door. "Dad, stop, please. We are sorry, okay? We are sorry about the party. We are sorry for the jokes. Just tell them to put our items back inside. We will pay you back, I swear it." "You will pay me back?" I asked. "With what cash, Tyler? The funds I give you each month, the stipend, because I cut that off too. The bank set for tomorrow morning is dead." Tyler looked sick to his stomach. He swayed on his feet. You pay my monthly cash. I thought that was the crash payout." "There was no payout, Tyler. You never had a car crash. I lied so you would not feel like a beggar. I paid your bills for 4 years. I kept you afloat. And how did you thank me? You watched your wife call me an ox. You sat me by the kitchen door." I turned the truck key. The engine roared. The loud truck noise hid his crying. "Tyler," I said, "you have much work to do. Rain is coming later today. You should cover your things." I shifted the gears. "Dad, wait. Where should we go?" I looked at him one final time. "I do not know, son. You are a smart kid. You hold a college paper that I bought. Figure it out." I rolled up the window. I drove away at a slow pace. In the mirror, I saw them stand in the road, 2 people in costly sleep clothes. They stood near a pile of trash. That trash used to be their life. They looked tiny. They looked lost. For the first time in years, they looked real. I drove to the city center. The sun sat high now. The day was just starting. I had 30 hours until the big Sterling board talk. I had a top boss to fire. I had a firm to rescue, and I had to visit a suit shop. My current suit had an oil mark. Tomorrow I had to look like the Grim Reaper. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a text from Victor Cross. Subject, audit check. "Sir, you must see this. The missing cash in the Sterling fund is not just 1.8 million. We found a hidden book. Charles Kensington used firm assets for private loans. The loans total over $4.5 million. He used the staff health fund as a backup." I smiled. It was an icy, grim smile. 4.5 million. He did not just rob the firm. He robbed the staff. He stole their health care. He was not just a crook. He was a beast. Tomorrow I would chop his head off. I spent Sunday afternoon in my home office. I got ready for the kill. The file Victor Cross sent was thick and heavy. It proved guilt. It showed a man who was not just a thief. He was a wild gambler. He played with other people's lives. Charles Kensington built his life on loose mud. I was about to add water. Outside, the sky turned dark purple. A storm brewed that fit my dark mood. I just finished checking the bank papers for Charles's rented huge house. Then my phone rang. I did not know the number. The area code matched the rich town where Charles lived his fake life. I let it ring 3 times, then I answered. I wanted him to sweat. I wanted him to think I was not there. His rope was cut. I slid my thumb on the glass. I did not say hi, I just listened. The breathing on the line was hard and fast. It was the sound of a choking man. "Artie, is that you?" It was Charles. His voice lost its smooth tone from last night. It sounded rough. It had a wild edge. He tried to hide a shake with loud words. In the back, I heard a woman cry. It sounded like Tiffany. "I am here, Charles," I said calmly. "I guess you called to thank me. I gave back the $25 you dropped." "Do not play games with me, you bastard," he yelled. His fake mask broke. "You kicked them out. You tossed your boy and my pregnant girl on the street like trash. Do you know what mess you made? They are here, Artie. They sit in my front room. All their junk fills my hall. My wife is having a panic attack." I drank some water. I pictured the scene. The rented huge house was full of Tyler's junk. 2 fake kings clashed. "I did not throw them out, Charles," I said. "I just ended a bad business deal. A rich man like you knows about cutting losses. You are the head of the family now. They look up to you. I thought you wanted them in your home. You can pay for them, right?" Silence hung heavy. I could hear his brain work hard. He was stuck. A no meant he was poor. A yes was a lie. He had no cash to fund 2 homes. He was in a tight box. "Listen to me, Artie," he said. His tone dropped to a sneak's whisper. "We must act like men. We must act like dads. This fight is wild. It hurts business. It ruins the family brand." I leaned forward. "What is your plan, Charles?" "I will ignore your acts at the party," he said fast. "I will forget the bad words. I will even let Tyler and Tiffany sleep here a few days. They can plan their next steps. But I have an issue, a short-term cash flow block." Ah, there it was, the real hook. "What kind of issue?" I asked. "It is high-level firm math," he said, waving it off. "You would not grasp the small points, but I become top boss tomorrow. My funds sit in a blind trust now. It is a normal rule for big moves. All cash is frozen for 60 hours. Lies, pure, filthy lies. His wealth was not locked up. It was simply gone. His bank apps showed zero. He spent the past month fixing holes in the staff fund before the money police came. So you say you are broke, Charles?" "I am not broke," he snapped. "I lack liquid cash. That is different. Look, I need a short loan, a personal promise, just to smooth bumps until the board sets my pay on Tuesday." "How much?" I asked. $240,000, he said. The sum came out too fast. He practiced this part. $240,000, I echoed slowly. "That is huge money for a grease monkey, Charles. Why would I hand you $240,000? "Because if you do not," he hissed. His tone turned icy and mean. "I will crush you." I waited. I let the threat float in the room. "How, Charles? How will you crush me?" "I have pals, Artie, very strong pals. I know the building chiefs in your town. I know the health guards. I know the green cops. One call shuts down your small garage for green rule breaks. I can make them dig your floor to find oil drips. I can drown you in court fights for years. You will lose it all. Your shop, your home, that truck you prize so much. I will bury you in files and fees. You will beg for coins on the curb." He was faking it. He thought he held ace cards, but he had low pairs. He did not know my law team wrote those very town rules. He did not know Fed teams checked my sites. They made the local health cop look like a mall guard. But I needed him to feel strong. I needed him to think I was weak. "Please, Charles," I said. I pushed fake fear into my voice. "Do not do that. That shop is all I own. It funds my old age." "Then sign the page," he said. He smelled fear. "It is a basic backup deal. You co-sign a loan for me, $240,000. I pay it back in a week plus extra. You save your shop. You fix the bond with your son. You keep your pride. We both win." I stopped talking. I let the quiet drag on. I let him think I weighed my life against my pride. "I do not have that kind of fast cash," I lied. "You own property," he shot back. "Your home, the dirt your shop rests on. Use them to back the loan. I have a lender ready, a shadow lender. He just needs a partner with free land." A shadow lender, that meant a street thug. He wanted me to risk my home to pay a thug. This way the thug would not break his legs. It was sick. It was perfect. "Okay," I whispered. "Okay, Charles, you win. I will sign. Just leave my shop be." "Good pick, Artie," he said. His voice dripped with joy. "Smart pick. Now we must meet tomorrow morning." "Where?" I asked. "At my work," he said. Sterling Industries main hub downtown, the big meeting room on floor 45. Come at 9:00 a.m. I want you to see real business. I want you to see the high view before you crawl to your hole. He wanted to shame me one final time. He wanted me to walk into his glass castle and bow. He wanted to flaunt his might to his peers before taking my cash. He dug his own grave with a giant scoop. I will be there, Charles, I said. 9:00 a.m. Should I bring items? Just your card and a pen, he said. And Artie, wear a new suit. You will step into a high-class space. Try not to look like a dirty farm hand. He laughed. It was a mean, harsh sound. Then the call dropped. I stared at the phone. The screen faded to black. I saw my face in the glass. I did not smile. I was not mad. I was cold, ice cold. He threatened my job. He tried to rob me. He planned to pull me into his debt trap to save his skin. I stood up. I walked to the glass pane. It was dark outside now. The wind blew hard. It shook the window guards. I thought of Tyler. He sat in that house with Charles now. He likely heard Charles brag. Charles boasted about taming the old man. Tyler felt glad, surely. He thought his rich in-law fixed the mess. He thought the free cash flowed again. They were all so blind. I walked back to my desk. I opened the laptop once more. I typed a safe note to Victor Cross. Victor, the meet is on. 9:00 a.m. Monday. Sterling Industries big room. Charles thinks I will co-sign a bad personal loan. He needs it to pay his debts. He vowed to use town rules to close my shop if I said no. Add blackmail to his crimes. Also, Victor, make sure the true board members show up. Tell them it is a rush meeting about the buyout, but do not name me as the buyer. Just say the new boss will show his face. He will handle staff problems himself. Keep the guard team ready downstairs. I do not want Charles to throw a fit when we kick him out. I sent the note. I sat still for a minute. I listened to the house creak. I looked at the suit on the door. It was an Armani dark gray wool piece. It cost $7,000. I bought it in Rome 4 years ago. I got it after buying a big sea freight firm. It was cut to hide my gut. It made my shoulders look huge. It was pure armor. I walked to it. I ran my hand down the arm. Tomorrow I would not be the grease monkey. Tomorrow I would not be the ox. Tomorrow I would be the meat cutter. I went to the washroom. I shaved my beard. I took my sweet time. I used a sharp blade. I cut my mustache neat. I checked the deep lines on my face. Each line was a war mark. Each brown hair was a hard lesson. Charles Kensington spent his life faking his role. I spent my life hiding my true self. Tomorrow the fake faces would fall. I went to bed. I set my clock for the early morning. I wanted to hit the city before sunrise. I wanted to be in the tower before Charles showed up. I wanted to sit in the big seat when he walked in. As I fell asleep, I thought of the $25 bill in my pocket. Would Charles recall it when I gave it back? Would he grasp the truth in his final minute? The truth that the poor man owned the grand castle he stood in. The storm outside broke open. Rain beat down on the roof. It was a pure, fresh rain. It washed off the weekend grime. It washed out the wedding. It washed out the lies. Tomorrow would be a fresh day, a crisp day, a day to pay the piper. The Boston sun was sharp and bright. I stepped out of the black car near the Sterling Industries tower. It was a huge block of glass and steel. It scraped the sky. It was a giant statue of greed. It cast a long, cold shade over the morning rush. I stood on the walk for a second. I breathed in the rough city air. For 45 years, I looked at such towers from the ground level. I mostly fixed the vans that used their back doors. Today, I looked at it as the man with the deed in his pocket. I fixed my sleeve links. They were pure gold. They felt heavy on my wrists. They were a gift from a huge German freight group. I bought that group 6 years ago. I smoothed the flaps of my dark gray Armani suit. It fit perfectly. The fine wool breathed with me. It hid my years of eating cheap food. It showed off my wide shoulders. I saw my face in the spinning glass doors. I did not see Artie the grease monkey. I did not see the Artie's costume shop. It is tight up top, right? Trying to look grand for the bank. I stayed quiet. I just stared at him. I looked at the man who called me an ox. I looked at the man who stole so much cash. I looked at the man who threw my son out. I am here, Charles, I said. My tone was low and calm. It came deep from my chest. Yeah, I see it, he snapped. He turned his back. He thought I would trail him like a dog. Come on, the big room is this way, and hear me, Artie. When we go in, keep your mouth shut. Only talk if asked. You nod, you sign what I say to sign, and you thank me for saving your sad life. Got it? He did not wait for my words. He walked to the big wood doors at the end. He walked tall, but it was fake. He was a dead man who thought he led a grand march. I looked at Victor Cross. He raised a brow to ask a thing. I shook my head a bit. Not yet. I followed Charles. I stayed 3 steps back. I let him pull the heavy doors. I let him lead me inside. The big room was grand. The table was huge, like a runway. 20 leather chairs sat around it. Paintings of old bosses hung on the walls. Strict cream men looked down with cold stares. 6 folks sat at the far end of the table. I knew them from the files. They were the board. Jessica was the head boss. Her eyes were hard like stone. Julian Vance was there too. He spoke for the big share owners. The rest were there. The strong folks who held the fate of Sterling Group. They sat quiet. Neat papers lay on the desk. They looked stiff. They looked ready to watch a man die. Charles walked in big. He spread his arms wide. Men and women of the board, he said. His voice was loud with fake guts. Thanks for coming so fast. I know you hear talk, but I swear the shift is fine. I got the cash we need to fix the gap. He waved his hand at me. He did not look back. In fact, I brought a backer with me. He is a private guy. He will put up his own wealth to keep us flush. He is a plain man, but he knows my lead is gold. The board did not look at Charles. They looked past him. They looked at me. I saw Jessica let her eyes go wide. She did not look at me with hate. She knew who I was. She looked at my Armani suit. She looked at Victor Cross standing quiet by me with fat files. She looked at how I took up space. Charles missed the quiet. He missed the change in the room. He pulled out a side chair off the table. He pointed at it. Sit there, Artie, he ordered. I have the forms right here, just a plain hold on your land. We sign this and I go back to running this firm. I did not sit. I walked past the chair. I walked past Charles. I felt his heat. He had the wild buzz of a man fighting the sea with a small spoon. I walked to the head of the big desk, to the empty seat at the far front. The seat for the top boss. The seat Charles thought he owned. Artie, Charles hissed. He grabbed my arm. What on earth are you doing? That is not your spot. Go back there before you make me look bad. I stopped. I looked down at his hand on my $7,000 suit. I stared at it until he knew his bad move. He yanked his hand back like he touched hot fire. I turned to face him. The room was dead quiet. The only noise was the buzz of drives next door and his rough breaths. I am not here just to sign, Charles, I said. My voice was low, but it filled the room. It bounced off the dark wood and glass. It held the mass of 45 years of hard sweat and 35 years of firm wars. Charles blinked. His smile slipped. What? Yes, you are. We talked. You are here to save your shop. I reached in my coat. I took out the crushed $25 bill he tossed at me in the shop. I smoothed it flat on the shiny desk. I am giving back your gas cash, I said. Then I reached in my coat again. I took out one thin pack. It was no loan form. It was 1 page with Pendleton Logistics marked in silver on top. And I am here to take your quit notice, I said. Charles stared at the page. He stared at me. He looked at the board for a pal. He hoped someone would laugh. But no one did. Jessica looked at her hands. Julian Vance read a file that Victor Cross slid over. What is this? Charles asked low. Who are you? Victor Cross took a step up. He popped his bag. It cracked like a gun. Mr. Kensington, Victor said. His voice was smooth and deadly. This is Mr. Arthur Pendleton. He built and owns Pendleton Logistics, and as of 6 a.m. today he holds the most shares. He is the new head of the board for Sterling Group. The blood left Charles's face real fast. It was like his blood just dried up. He fell back and hit the desk edge. No, he gasped. No, that cannot be. He is a guy who fixes cars. He is an ox. I walked around the desk. I stood behind the big chair. I put my hands on the leather back. I am the ox, Charles, I said, and this is my barn. I sat down. Now, I said. I looked at the man. He was quite small in his messy tux. Let's talk about the $1.8 million you stole from the work fund. The quiet in the room was dense. It felt heavy on the dark wood and on all our chests. Charles Kensington sat stiff in the side chair. His hands held the arms tight. His joints turned cream. He looked like a king told his fort was built on mud. He blinked fast. His brain fought the new hard truth. He looked at the one page on the desk. He saw Pendleton Logistics on top. Then he looked at me. His eyes were wide and glass-like. They were full of wild shock. "You lied," Charles hissed. His voice was a dry scratch. "This is a prank, a sick bad joke. You paid these folks. You paid fake folks. You got a suit for rent. You try to spook me since I went after your small shop. Well, it fails, Artie, it fails." He looked all around the desk. His eyes jumped from face to face. He looked for a pal. He wanted a nod to say it was fake. He looked at Jessica. "Jessica, tell him. Tell this car guy to get out of my space. Call the guards. Lock him up for breaking in." Jessica did not look at Charles. She looked at me. She picked up the file Victor Cross put down. She opened it. The flip of the page was the sole sound. She read the first page with a blank face. Then she looked up. "Mr. Pendleton," she said. Her voice was cool and neat. "The board sees your big stake buy in Sterling Group. We checked the trade with the state rules. The shift of hands got done at 6 a.m. today. We are set to go on with your list." Charles jumped like she hit him. "What?" he stuttered. "What did you say, big stake? No way, the stock did not move. I would know. I watched the screens." "It was a backdoor buy, Charles," I said. My tone was mild, like a man telling a kid why things fall. "I bought the debt. I bought shares from quiet partners you forgot. I bought the bank that holds the loan on this haul. I did not just buy the firm. I bought the dirt you sit on." Charles shook his head hard. No, you fix cars. You drive an old rust box. My girl called you an ox. You ate the foul meat dish in the back row. You cannot be rich. Rich men do not have oil in their nails." I leaned down. I put my face near his. I smelled his sour sweat. "I worked for each buck I have, Charles," I said. "I built my firm with sweat and oil. I know the worth of a buck because I had to work hard for it. You think cash is a magic trick. You think it pops up 'cause you rate it. You think you can spend it since you hold a rank. But you forgot the top rule of the trade. Never spit on the man who signs the chits." Charles tried to stand, but his legs gave out. He fell back in his seat. "Get out," he gasped. "Get out of my room." "It is not your room," I said. "And that is not your chair." I stepped back. I nodded at Victor Cross. Victor stepped up. He opened his thick book. He set it down flat in the middle. It hit with a huge thunk, the sound of the end. "Mr. Kensington," Victor said. His tone was cold and sharp. "This is the fresh check of the top sales wing for the last years till now. An outside crew did it over the past 84 hours. Charles stared at the fat book. He looked sick to his gut. "We found major flaws," Victor went on. "We tracked wires that summed to $1.8 million. They went from the staff fund to a fake firm far away. It was called CK Advice." Charles turned a shade of brown I never saw on a live guy. "Those were real fees," he choked. "For market checks, outside help." Victor turned a page. "We tracked who owned CK Advice," he said. "The sole heir is listed as Charles Kensington, and the cash was not for market checks. It paid for a big house rent in Wellesley. It paid to rent fancy cars, like a cream BMW X5. It paid off big bet debts at the game hall. And very late, a big chunk paid for a wedding party at the Grand Hotel." The whole room gasped. The board sucked in a loud breath. They looked at Charles with shock and hate. He did not just take firm gains. He stole from the staff fund. He took the old-age cash of the floor guys, the truck men, the desk clerks. He robbed folks who did real work. "That is a lie," Charles screamed. He hit the desk with his hand. "That is a fake trick. You set me up. You plant stuff since you hate me. You try to crush me since I win." I walked near the desk very slow. I stopped by Jessica. I looked at the painting of the old boss on the wall. He looked strict. He looked true. "Charles," I said, my back was to him. "Do you know my job at Pendleton Logistics?" He did not speak. He breathed hard. He panted like a caught beast. "I fix things," I said. "When a trade line snaps, I fix it. When a firm bleeds, I burn the cut shut. And when I spot a leech, I cut it out." I turned. I met his eyes. "You are a leech, Charles. You fed on this firm for 6 years. You sucked its lifeblood to pay for your dream life. You longed to play the grand guy. You longed to be king, but you were just a crook in a tux." "I am no crook," he yelled. He stood up on weak legs. I'm a top boss. I made this place rich. I made cash flow. I earned that sum. It was my prize. I just took it fast. You took it from the staff, I roared. My big voice hit the glass walls. You stole from folks who stand on the line for 12 hours a day. You took from folks who trust this firm with their later years. You used their sick fund to get your own loans. You played dice with their lives, just to drive a nice car, just to throw a bash for your brat girl. Charles shrank down. He looked tiny. He looked sad. His pride was dead. He knew the game was done. Victor Cross pulled out a new sheet from his bag. He slid it flat toward Charles. This is your fire note, Victor said. Right now you are sacked for cause, bad acts, theft, scam lies, broken trust rules. We strip all your ranks, all perks, all stock picks. Charles looked at the sheet. He did not grab it. He just stared at the text, fired for cause. You cannot do this, he whispered. I am the boss. The board gave me its word. I looked at Jessica. Jessica stared at Charles. Her eyes were ice. Mr. Kensington, the board did not vote you top boss. We thought on it. But with this bad news and by word of our new head, Mr. Pendleton, we pull the plan. You are fired. Get out of here right now. Charles looked at the room. He saw the faces of his team. Folks he bragged to, folks he bullied. He saw no pity. He saw pure blame. He looked at me. He looked at the car guy he tried to smash. Artie, please, he begged. His voice cracked. Please, let us talk. I can pay it back. I can work for free. Do not do this. I will lose all, my house, my good name. I will go to jail. I walked up to him. I stood right by his seat. He still held the top boss chair tight. You should have thought on that before you called me an ox, I said low. You should have thought on that before you hurt my shop. You should have thought on that before you robbed your own staff. I pointed at the exit. Get out of my chair, Charles. He paused for a beat. I thought he might fight. I thought he might throw a punch, but his back drooped. The spark left his core. He was hollow. He let go of the arms. He backed off the chair. He looked like he got 10 years older in 12 minutes. He began to walk to the exit. His steps dragged loud. He did not look at a soul. He kept his eyes down. Hold on, I said. He paused. He turned back. A spark of hope lit his eyes. Maybe he thought I felt soft. Maybe he thought I'd throw him a bone. I dug in my coat. I pulled out the bent $25 bill. I walked over. I grabbed his damp, loose hand. I pushed the cash deep in his palm. I closed his fingers tight on it. You dropped this, I said. You might need bus fare. The car lot costs a lot if you don't work here. He stared at the cash. He stared at me. One sad drop ran down his face. It was not a sad drop for his sins. It was just grief for himself. He turned and left the room. The quiet in the place hung for a long time. Then I turned back. I looked at the blank chair at the top. The dark leather was warm. I walked over. I sat down in it. It felt good. It felt firm. It felt right. I looked at the board. I looked at Victor. I looked at the Boston skyline past the tall glass. I saw the town Charles tried to win with lies. I saw the town I built with steel tools. Now, I said. I set my hands flat down. My voice was calm. It was the voice of the head boss. We have much work to do. We must refill the staff fund. We must rebuild this firm. We must shift the mood here. I looked at Jessica. Move, I said. I want a deep check of all top boss spend funds. If one more guy used our cash for fancy stuff, sack them by noon. We go back to plain facts. We make goods. We are not a posh golf club. Jessica gave a nod. Yes, boss. And Victor, I said. Yes, sir, he said. Call the state cop chief. Tell him we press charge forms on Charles Kensington. Say we got the proof. Say we got his own words. Have him grabbed before he walks out. Do not let him run away. Victor gave a smile, a crocodile smile. Done deal, sir. 2 plain cops wait in the main hall. They will catch him by the lift. I gave a nod. Good. I leaned back. I thought on Tyler. I thought on Tiffany. I wondered if they saw the news on TV. I wondered if they saw the stock lines drop. I wondered if they knew their roof would fall in. The roof Charles swore they had. They called me an ox. They mocked me. They tried to wipe me out. But an ox is tough. An ox is smart. If you fight an ox in the mud, you both get filthy. But the ox loves it. I looked at the sheet on the desk. Point 1, meet the new boss. I grabbed a pen. It was cheap plastic from my coat. I clicked the top. Let us work, I said. Board folks cracked their files. The meet kicked off. I was Arthur Pendleton, the meat man, the head boss, the ox, and I just kicked off my run. I did not stay in the room for cheers from the board. I did not stay to sip rich coffee or stare at the Boston Harbor. I had one more task to do. It was 45 floors down in the front hall. I gave a sign to Victor Cross. We rode the private lift down. The drop was quite still, the hush of an empty church or a dead room, the quiet of pay time. When the steel door slid back, the main hall was wild. Charles Kensington made it to the guard gates. His face was red. He yelled at two cops in his path. He swung his arms. He pointed high. He told them he would take their cop stars, but the cops did not care at all. A tall cop wore a cheap suit like mine at the Big Bash. He spun Charles real fast and smashed him on the stone desk. I stopped by the lift bank. I watched the cold cuffs snap shut on his wrists. I saw his dark soul break. His back curved. His chin fell. The loud, proud man who threw $25 at my shop was gone. A bad crook stood there. He faced 24 years in a cell for lies, but the play was not done. The cops read Charles his rights. Then the front glass doors spun fast. Tyler and Tiffany rushed inside. They looked like they ran from a posh war dump. Tyler wore messy pants and a polo top grabbed from dirty clothes. Tiffany wore jog pants and huge shades. Her hair was a tangled nest. They came to spot Charles on his first day as top boss. They came begging for free cash. They came seeking a god. Instead, they found their god tied up. "Dad!" Tiffany shrieked. Her cry bounced off the high roof. It was sharp and loud. She ran on the shiny floor. Her sandals slapped the cold rock. "What do you do to him? Let him go. He is the big boss." One cop stepped right between Tiffany and her dad. "Miss, step back. This guy is locked up for massive theft and fake trades." Tiffany froze fast. She yanked off her huge shades. Her red eyes went huge. "Locked up," she gasped. "That is false, a mix-up. Tell them, Dad. Tell them your rank." Charles looked up. He stared at his girl. He stared at Tyler right behind her. His eyes moved past them. He locked his gaze on me. "He did it," Charles croaked. He aimed his chin at me. His hands were tied tight in back. "The car guy, the ox, he tricked me. He bought the firm just to smash me." Tyler and Tiffany turned very slow. They saw me by the lift doors. They saw the Armani suit. They saw my guard detail. They saw Victor Cross by my side like death. They looked at the desk clerks. They looked at the guards. They looked at the staff group to watch. Every single soul looked at me with awe and deep fear. The raw truth crashed on their heads. The big house was gone. The fancy car was gone. The free booze was gone, and the rich dad, their prize ticket, was off to jail. They looked at my face. For the first time, they did not see a cash box. They saw the bank boss. Tiffany ran to me. She did not run to scream. She did not run to fight. She ran to beg hard. She threw herself down by my shoes. She fell on her knees on the icy stone. She grabbed the edge of my pants with wild claws. "Artie," she cried out loud. "Oh my God, Artie, please stop this mess. Help him. He is granddad to your grandchild. Do not let him rot in a cell. Think of the newborn. Please think of the kid." I looked down at her mess. A day ago she called me an ox. A day ago she swore I would never see the kid. A day ago she laughed at my shame. Today she knelt down. She used the baby bump as a shield. She tried to trick the man she hated, since I was the last man on his feet. I stepped back fast. I yanked my pants from her claws. I brushed the cloth like she left dirt on it. "Stand up, Tiffany," I said. My tone was pure ice. "You bring shame on yourself." She looked up at me. Wet drops ran down her cheeks. Her face paint was wrecked. "But we are kin," she wailed loud. "You said you longed to be a granddad. Do not crush your own kin." I looked right at Tyler. He stood a few feet back. He stared with his jaw dropped. He looked scared. He looked weak. "I wanted that," I said. "But you made it plain last night. You called me a ghost. You said the kid was a Kensington. Well, look at the Kensington line, Tiffany. It stands right there in steel cuffs. That is the tag your kid gets. A crook's tag." She shook her head wild. No, I lied. I was tense. I felt bad. "We can swap the name. We name him Arthur, Tiny Artie. You can see him each day. Just fix this mess. Buy the firm. Pull the cop charges. Give back our huge home." She tried a trade. She sold her unborn kid's name for a house lease. It made me sick. It was a cold deal. It was who she was deep down. "Too late," I said. You make no deals with me now, you bet on a lame horse. Now you walk home. The cops began to drag Charles out. He did not punch back. He hung his bald head. Tiffany jumped up and chased him. She screamed for him to fix the huge mess, to be the strong guy he claimed. But he was just a crook in a messy suit. Tyler did not chase her. He stood sole in the big hall. He stared at me. He walked over very slow, hands stuffed in his pockets. "Dad," he said, his voice was tiny. "Okay, you made your point. You took the win. Charles is a bad guy. Tiffany is tough. I get it all." He tried a sad smile. It was a weak, fake look. "But I am your kid, right? I mean, I am pure in this. I stole zero. I just tagged along. I'm a hurt victim, too." I looked right at him. I checked for a strong spine. I found none. "You are no victim, Tyler," I said. "You are a partner in crime. You stood by to watch. You drank the crisp wine. You slept in the house I bought. You drove the car I leased. You took the weekly cash I sent. You loved living rich as long as you did not ask where the cash grew." Tyler moved his feet. "Okay, fine, I lacked thanks. I feel sad, truly. Look, we have no roof. My junk sits on the grass. Tiffany is mad wild. I need a loan, just a small chunk, till my next job check clears." He stopped. He grew a bit bold. "At least I kept my job, right? I lead my team well. I got a career path. I will rebuild. I just need gap cash till payday comes." I gave Victor Cross a hard look. Victor reached deep in his bag. He took out one cream pack. He passed it to me. "Tyler," I asked, "who do you work for?" He blinked. He seemed lost. "I work for Midwest Ship Rules. I lead the zone base. You know this stuff." "And who owns Midwest Ship Rules?" I asked. He frowned deep. "I do not know. A big trust. The Synergy Group, I think." I tapped the pack on my flat palm. "The Synergy Group belongs to Pendleton Logistics," I said. "I bought that firm 5 years ago. I put the top bosses in. I made up your job title, Tyler. I told them to hire you fast. I told them to pay you top dollar. I told them to skip that you show up late 3 days a week." Tyler's face went cream. "No," he whispered. "No, not true at all. I earned my spot." "You earned zero," I said. "I gave it all to you, just like I gave you the big house, just like I gave you the huge party. I built a fake world for you. You played big shot, but I am done with my bricks." I gave him the cream pack. "This is your fire slip, Tyler. You are axed right this second. Your work phone dies in 12 minutes. Your work charge card is cut off now." Tyler took the pack. His hand shook real hard. He almost dropped it. "Dad, you cannot do this," he gasped. "You cannot fire me. I got a kid coming. I have zero." "You have your 2 hands," I said. "You got a strong spine. You are young. Go hunt for work. Go beg at a car shop. Go learn to change black oil. Go learn what work feels like. Earn your cash. Do not just wait for it to hit your bank." But, he choked. I leaned real close. "You long to be a true man, Tyler. This is a man's life. You stand on your own 2 feet. Your daddy will not hold you up anymore." I turned my back. I did not gaze back. I walked for the doors. My guards and lawyer walked with me. I heard him yell my name. "Dad, Dad, please." I kept my pace. I walked through the spinning glass to the sun. The air smelled like car smoke and street dirt. It smelled of free air. I sat in the back of the town car. Victor Cross got in beside me. "Where to, sir?" the driver asked. "Take me to the plains," I said. "I have a plant to check in Pennsylvania." Victor looked at me. "Are you okay, Artie?" I stared out the glass as we rolled off the curb. I saw Tyler on the walk. He clutched his fire slip. He watched my car leave. He looked frozen. He looked like a lost kid in a big mart. But for the first time ever, he saw the real cold world. "I'm quite fine, Victor," I said. "I just took out the garbage." I closed my eyes. I felt no guilt at all. I felt no sad gloom. I felt light. The huge lie was gone. The leech was yanked out. The cut was burnt clean. It will scar. Yes, but a scar proves you lived through the war. I had work to do. It is 7 months since I left the main hall of Sterling Group. I left the wreck of my son's fake life in the dust. I sit in a booth at a local joint on the south edge of Boston. I eat a meat bun. I drink dark coffee. It costs me $15. It tastes so much better than the $100 tough meat dish at the Grand Hotel. I do not wear the Armani suit today. I wear a plaid shirt and rough jeans. I am back to plain Artie. But I sleep very well in the dark. I did not keep the cash I saved when I cut Tyler off. I did not buy a huge boat or a beach house in Martha's Vineyard. Instead, I bought an old brick shed near my first shop. I tore out the guts. I put in top gear, best lifts, best tools, best test rigs cash can buy. I hung a sign outside, the Pendleton Trade School. It costs zero cash. The only rule: you show up on time, you work hard, you do not fear dirt on your hands. I build a huge team of car fixers. They will build the world while guys like Charles try to steal it. Charles Kensington gave up his tux. He wears a striped prison uniform now. The court case was fast. The proof was just too huge. He took a deal to dodge life in a cell, but he stays in the state block for 10 years. His big rented home sits bare. His good name is burnt ash. Tyler and Tiffany did not last